I'm Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV. Always with me, Primo Grande, the one and only Cold Seasons, and we are the Brunch Fellas. What's good with it, family?
Not much, man. It's Friday and we doing our thing, so it's always good. You know how it go.
That's right. That's right. Man, we got some crazy topics. There's been a lot going on this week just in life, period, in general. So um before we jump into them topics, y'all already know. Make sure to head on over to www.bksoulfarm.com and pick up your copy of 1016 160 Self Sustainability by Ali Dawoodell. The link is in the description, y'all. Go grab that. And then also subscribe to DB Chef TV at DB Chef TV on YouTube, y'all. And put your name in the hat to win $100. It's a random drawing. We do it every third Sunday of the month from here on out to the end of the year. So we want to show you that we thank you for your support, supporting our content, showing up, rocking out with us. So this is how we want to give back to you. Link is in the description, y'all. Subscribe. Don't forget we got DB Chef TV merch as well. Link is also in the description. And if money's tight, it's all right. We gonna still love you if you just do what Code sees.
Smash the like.
Smash
That's right.
that like button. So let's just go ahead and jump into these trending topics for the week. So number one, we got prosecutors say singer D4vd used a chainsaw to dismember the young girl's body who he's accused of murdering right now. This is an ongoing story in California, y'all. It's crazy. We touch on Hollywood, hip hop, politics, life, crime, everything. So, this is just giving you all of them things wrapped up into one. We're gonna go check out that story. Then second tonight, y'all, we got a new Supreme Court ruling that changes civil rights. Um, y'all know in 1963, 64, 65, we had was historically called the civil rights movement. Even though it was all of the stuff leading up to that, you know, that's I guess when we actually got some changes at the legislative, the governmental level. But it seems like those things are changing, reversing course. So we're gonna go check out a topic on that. Then we got after 25 years, y'all, hip hop legend Jam Master Jay from the legendary trio hip hop group Run DMC is finally getting some justice. Y'all know he got murdered a while back, and they're finally being able to put the clues to that case together and things like that. So we're gonna go check out that story. Then fourth, we got a Grammy nominated producer evicted in Atlanta. Now he really from the Gump. If you don't know what the Gump is, do some history on that. Shout out to my boy Tim Bean from the Gump. And this is a wild story, y'all. This is a real wild story. So we're gonna get into that. And then last but not least, we got the CJNG cartel boss El Adelino getting captured, man. Like it's crazy. Um it's crazy, that what was the guy's name? El Mencho. El Mencho was the leader and he was recently killed. But then after Mencho got killed, now they put the USA government has put price tags on all of his like so-called underbosses. So El Arenino, he is one of the underbosses, and he got captured. So we're gonna go check out a story on that, and let's go ahead and get into this prosecutors what they saying about David.
I just literally ran out of the David courtroom. And I'm going to warn everybody because what's happened today we did not expect. They're setting a preliminary hearing for May 26th. And that what happened today, the big deal today, was that there was actually an argument between the defense and prosecutors because the prosecutors filed what they believe is their case to be presented at the preliminary hearing. Now, at that point, the defense stood up and said, we don't want the public to hear this. They tried to seal it because it is very, very disturbing. I have been able to obtain this. The judge agreed that it does not have to be sealed, so we, the media, can get it and present it to the people who you listening. But I want to warn you before I read some of these elements, this is disturbing stuff. And it's a good reason why they wanted it sealed, the defense. Let me show you some video, but please be aware, I'm going to try to be as tasteful as I can. But in essence, what the prosecution is saying,
cause that is a lot. That's a huge preface to be like, you know, I'm going to try to be as tasteful as I can, and I'm going to, you know, I want to share this thing with you. And it's so like, you think this bigger than the OJ case? This seemed like right now that like this is bigger than the OJ case right here.
Yeah, I mean, when you put add dismemberment to it, you know what I'm saying? That I think it does add a whole different type of factor to it, you know what I'm saying? Because it's in these days is content, you know, and people like the shock factor of things sometimes, you know. And I mean, the case is a terrible thing, but
yeah, but is this shock factor though? Cause like this is crazy. Like this, like she's saying it to me. I'm looking at it like she's saying it like, you know, like y'all, like this is some bad stuff. Like this is horrible.
Yeah, she tried to give a disclaimer before she started, but you know, she hadn't got to it yet. But she said we about to see some stuff as much as they can show on the news, I guess.
is that David Burke met Celeste Rivas when she was 11 years old and he was 18. They started dating when she was 13. He was 18, and they started a sexual relationship. Now,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Right off the top, like this, it just get wild right off the top. Maybe let's run it back.
And they started a sexual relationship.
I mean, one more game.
Is that David Burke met Celeste Rivas when she was 11 years old and he was 18. They started
11 and 18. So it might need to be some clarification on that, but either way it's messed up. But then she say 13 and 18. So it's somewhere in between there, but either way.
No, family. Because she just said 11.
Right, and 18.
And he was 18. Like,
right, and that's when they met.
How?
I have no idea.
I'm like, how? How as a parent did you let your 11-year-old meet an 18-year-old and they start kicking it? Like, am I wrong for that? Is that one of those questions that like, oh, you don't have kids, so you shouldn't be asking about how? Like,
I think that's one of them real reasonable questions. You know what I'm saying? Where was the parents? How was he able to meet her at 11 years old? Keep in contact with her from 11 to 13,
11,
and then all the way up to her death. That's crazy.
That's a baby.
Yeah. And he's 18. Even if he was 16, even if he was 15, 11 years old, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And I'm just, and then that's okay. So we got the parents. So what the world is wrong with him? What's wrong with him at 18 where you can't, that's the level that you functioning on? Like you can't get a girl your age?
And he crazy too.
Even if they was 16, okay, I could see like, you know, maybe you stayed back a couple times, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And you know,
I still don't see a 16-year-old having the urge to mess with a 13-year-old. You know, 13, that's crazy.
Cause
or 11.
They said he was
11.
He was 18 and she was 11.
There's no excuse. I mean, there's just no excuse. I think we can sit here all day through this show and the next show trying to figure out, you know, what's wrong with his psyche to to go there. But what it really is,
Don't
you
spend that
call you
much
call
time
it
on it.
you call it what it is, a PDF.
Yeah, yeah. He checking the boxes. I'm
Yeah,
losing a lot more. I already really ain't had no respect for it when I heard how the situation was, just assuming. But I'm like, now that these things is unfolding, I'm just like, that's crazy. Let's get into it, family.
Dating when when she was 13, he was 18, and they started a sexual relationship. Now they believed her parents found out, took her cell phone away because she kept on running away from him, and we've heard about this before. But he actually bought her a cell phone at her junior high school and actually, had it delivered to her.
He bought her a phone and had it delivered to her.
right. Yeah,
So off top, see, this is why, like, see, like when I'm hearing this story, when I'm hearing this type of input in the story, right, it
mhm.
make me hard to it make it hard for me to believe he not guilty.
I don't believe that I don't believe that he's not guilty. I'm already there.
I mean, because I don't put out like some, like some Hollywood crazy, maybe somebody did something because he wouldn't do something, like I'm like, those narratives be out here too. So I'm just saying, like, not looking at both sides of the coin, maybe, but I'm like, when I hear stuff like this though, I mean, that's a paper trail, bro. That's a paper trail. Like
Yeah,
yeah, like you paid for a phone, then you have a cell phone record, a bill of paying, and I'm just like, so like
yeah.
if you was gonna be a criminal, you definitely not a smooth one. Okay.
No Michael Jackson.
No MJ, no he. All right, because this ain't funny at all. So you buying a little girl a phone, and then so like that is, to me, that's establishing a relationship, you know and that's establishing a relationship beyond the discipline of the parent, because the parents was like, we took the phone away, because we know that that's what you was using as a tool to be in contact with this person. So they was trying to do something disciplinary, but then he kept going. So he give her a phone and now encourage her to lie even more. And
Right,
you know what
right.
I'm saying?
And I think that's the
He
behavior
feed in he feed into it.
and nature of grooming. He was grooming her. He was still grooming her. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that was. When the parents take the phone, and then he give her the phone, she feel like that's a reward from him to make her go even more crazy about him. You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
Um, so but I mean he's a sick individual, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know they say everybody innocent until proven guilty, but we talked about this topic before. I think the boy is cooked. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah, I think he
cooked.
done too. I think
You
he's
know, he,
overcooked.
and even if he didn't do it, which I do believe he did do it, even if he didn't do it, he would still need to be held accountable and have to answer for all these other circumstances like they talking about right now. What you messing with a little girl? You
Because
know,
give me how he didn't do it though. Give me a how he didn't do it. How, like, because we both familiar. We're gonna watch the tape, but we both kind of familiar with the facts because this is our second time on the story. So we know that they alleging, like, that she was in, they found her in a car and her body was decomposing, like, so they have all of this, and it was dismembered. So like, and it wasn't even that decomposed too, to keep it a buck. So like, so we know those details of the story, right? But then how could he have not done it? Because the prosecution, when we watch this clip, is gonna lay it out a little bit, you know. But how
right?
could he have not done it though? Just right now, with what or what we think we know, how it go, cuz.
There's only one scenario to me in my mind where he didn't do it. Only one, and the only scenario would be that he went out of town to go do the show. and he let the girl keep the car, and she got into some shit in that process. That's the only way I see it. But once again, I think he did it. You know what I'm saying? I honestly think he did it, but that's the only way that I can see that he didn't do it.
But she like what, 14? What type of shit she getting into?
She was 14. Yeah, she was 14. She was 14 at the time of her death, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Ain't no telling. I mean, there's no telling, man. You know, she was already running away and stuff, you know, then hanging out with him, you know.
But she was only running away with him.
Right. Right.
She wasn't running away to go do no dope or nothing else. That was her dope.
But we don't know if she was on any kind of drugs or anything with him.
But he would have had her on that shit. He grooming and all that.
Right.
Allegedly.
So if he leave her with the car.
And from that comment that you pointed out so eloquently, with the last time we was on this, when he was like, when they was sitting there and he was just like, I groomed you. And she was like, how? By R wording?
A minor.
A minor, you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, and you said that was a reach for help, you know, and now that I'm thinking about it, you know, I'm just like, I don't know if that was a reach for help. I know what you mean about it, but like, I don't know if it was a reach for help. I think she was understanding her position, like, and her leverage, you know, and by making outbursts and stuff like that, and knowing that what the situation was, like, that confirms like that 11 to 18 type situation, you know, like what they saying. And it's like, okay, well, I can manipulate the situation. She trying to figure out how much she can manipulate the situation, because what they talking about now is where he killed her. Allegedly, he killed her because she was threatening him to expose him. So, you know what I'm saying? So like when you seen that out, when you called out that outburst like that, you know,
that was testing the exposure.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, okay, so that might have been a key moment in their whole situation. And then they saying that he got mad about that, and that's why he acted what he acted with the allegedly, you know. And then we got to this with Celeste no more, you know, and now him on trial. So I'm just like, or him headed to trial.
Right.
I don't know, cause like, I'm with you though. I think he did it. I don't think he didn't do it.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think he didn't do it.
I think he didn't do it, but you know, I was curious to know if when you say he didn't do it, what that looked like, you know.
Yeah, that's just, and when I say that, like I said, that's just a hypothetical. Once again, I think he did it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think his money long enough to get off of a guilty one if he did do it. So
I think they got too much evidence. Let's go ahead and rock out.
Now, they did have a sexual relationship for quite some time. She ran away. But here is, and I warn you, this is where it gets really crazy. According to the prosecution, the night before they believe she was killed, April 23rd, the night of the 22nd, there was a big fight, and they went back and forth with text messages. She was upset because he was seeing other girls, and she was threatening in those text messages to disclose information about him that would get him in trouble and, quote, ruin his career. So he actually gets an Uber for her, according to prosecutors, and has her delivered to his home that day, April 23rd, to come to the house. He pays the Uber to drop her off, and according to them, that is when he kills her.
Okay, cuz you hear that?
Yeah.
He called the Uber. So like, it's a record of this. This how stupid. I don't know why people commit crime anymore. Like, it's foolish. But he paid the Uber. So they got that information. You paid the Uber for her. She was the pickup.
Right.
Okay. You paid it with your money, with your accounts, whatever. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It traces back to you. Like, it literally traces back to you that you paid for it. She gets delivered there. And then all of a sudden she dies. You know,
yeah, that's why I work right there. That whole thing is why I work.
I mean, so like, to me, like, that there's another thing where it's like, okay, well then why does this dot connect to this dot? You know, just off that right there, we're gonna go through the rest.
He say he stabbed her to death, and he actually waited, according to this complaint, until she quote unquote bled out. Then he took her phone, traveled to Santa Barbara, and kept on calling, texting her, saying, "Where are you? Where are you?" As her body is sitting in her house. Again, according to prosecutors. I want to underline that David has declared himself not guilty. Okay.
What you think?
Yeah, so I mean that's another thing with the with the technology. Like you're driving in the car with her phone, texting her phone, like the towers can't tell that your phone and her phone is traveling together.
I'm just saying.
Like that's crazy, man.
I'm just saying, like Davies, not that bright. He's really not that bright, like, and that's not even encouraging his activity. I'm just saying, like if they're saying they have this information too, like, so we done heard like three things. They can prove he was in an 18 and 11-year-old relationship. We can prove that, okay? Then we can prove that you got her the Uber to the crib. Then we can prove that when she went silent, you went driving, and then all these text messages. That's where we are right now. Like, we can prove that we got evidence to say that you did that leads to your device and you were there. We can put you in the place on your device. We damn near could probably tap into the video and watch you typing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably on the way, right?
It's here. We just don't know when we just ain't got to the level yet. It's already here.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, privacy don't even exist no more. So, like,
no, it doesn't.
Foolish, man. Like,
that's crazy.
It's foolish.
Of all this already in court, of any charges or whatever may happen. So he goes to Santa Barbara, and that's where, according to the complaint, investigators actually found her ID and some of her stuff. Then he returns home, and get ready for this. He starts ordering on Amazon the tools that they say he used to dismember her body.
Yeah, he's just stupid, man. He's stupid, They just need to go ahead and not even waste the time with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And everybody taxpayers money.
They did, like, they was like, he postmated a shovel. And then he went on Amazon and bought a couple of, like, he postmated a shovel or Instacarted a shovel from, like, Home Depot. Then he went on Amazon and bought chainsaws and shit and stuff like that, and was looking at, storage cages or burn cages and all this other wild stuff to have. He ended up a pool,
Well, I'll tell you something too, man.
A rubber pool. Now that's something else that they saying they got connected to. Then they got a whole DNA thing too that's connected to it. But before we get to that, now they got him ordering stuff that's like our last, like the last joint we was talking about. They had a Chat GPT was under investigation because somebody done went on Chat GPT and asked how to commit a murder, and they committed it, and they got caught. Right, so now the I think it's down in Florida. So now they want to put Chat GPT up on the stand, I guess. But yeah. Right, GPT up on the stand, but they done. my man done first had the 11 to 18. Then they walking them through the steps where now you can connect them ordering Ubers. Now you can connect them to the steps where you ordering Amazon and you ordering tools to dismember bodies and to dispose of stuff. It's like, I'm looking at, like, how much more evidence do they need?
I think they got more than that, because it seemed like he just leave a whole trail behind. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not on his phone, or something, some home surveillance or something like that, the dude is cooked, man. Dude is cooked, And I think we talked about it one time before about how the younger generation, they will do everything on the phone. They'll actually beef with people, call them out, Just drop the location, record the whole crime happening, and it's just crazy to me. You know what I mean? And it's no different with him. He left so much of a trail. He might as well have recorded it. And then I think he wrote a song about the shit too. So it's crazy.
Including, and I kid you not, a burn cage and shovels and all kinds of things. Has the stuff delivered. And according to them, because they served a search warrant in his garage, this is where he supposedly did this, he proceeded to dismember her body. Specifically, Jaring is taking away her pinky finger because his name was tattooed on it. Again, these are allegations by the prosecution. He has pled not guilty, and this is the case they plan to present at the preliminary hearing on May 26. They say that they have a biological evidence, her DNA in the garage.
Yeah, he done. And he cut the finger off with her name on it. I mean, you can't be
Crazy.
no more guilty than that. Who else had more of an interest to cut that finger off than the person whose name is on that finger?
Crazy,
It's
right?
crazy.
It's the wildest. It's one of the wildest stories I have ever heard in a long time. It's like, damn. And oh no, we're just gonna send some prayers for Celeste Reaver's family, and hopefully Davey can find Jesus somewhere along his journey, because he's about to go to prison for a long ass time. And I ain't wishing that on you. I'm just like, damn, man, the evidence seems pretty damning.
Yeah, he definitely going to prison.
It seems pretty damning. So, say that's damn. But moving on to our second story, y'all, we got a new Supreme Court ruling that changes the civil rights rules, and let's go check this out.
Here's a story that is sparking a lot of conversation right now. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 was signed after Bloody Sunday in Selma, and it outlawed barriers like poll taxes and literacy tests, and it even expanded access to the ballot. Now a U.S. Supreme Court ruling could roll back decades of that progress. In a 6-3 decision Wednesday, the court said a Louisiana district represented by Democrat Cleo Fields relied too heavily on race, opening the door to redistricting in several southern states, including right here in Georgia. Atlanta News First Alani Latang explains what could be next.
This Supreme Court seeks to set us back, decades.
In a historic Supreme Court decision, justices ruled states can almost never consider race when drawing district maps, sparking controversy.
It really is a direct attack on Black Georgians and Black voters all across our country.
I think that the Supreme Court has finally taken race out of redistricting.
The ruling stems from justices finding that recent redistricting in Louisiana to be unconstitutional because the redrawing had been too heavily race-based. The latest ruling weakens the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which gave voters of color a chance to challenge district maps that allegedly diluted their political power. Former ambassador and Georgia Representative Andrew Young says he's watching what he fought for decades ago being taken away.
I don't know why the Supreme Court would do anything that would lessen the role of protecting the right to vote.
Senator Raphael Warnock responding, saying he wouldn't be here without the Voting Rights Act.
This Trump Supreme Court just threw out the protections that were earned by the civil rights movement. Those who bled, who fought, and who died so that people might have a voice. So that the people might have a voice in their own house.
The ruling will bring major changes to representatives across all levels of government. David Clark, a candidate for lieutenant governor, wrote the Supreme Court removed a barrier, adding that Democrats have used the Voting Rights Act to concoct absurd narratives of racism. Some Georgia Republicans looking to act immediately ahead of November's midterm elections for Congress.
The last thing that Republicans need to do is be weak-kneed in this moment. This is a time to be bold. This is a time to be aggressive. And in Georgia, that means calling a special session and redrawing our maps.
Some hoping to do the opposite to avoid possible disruptions to voting this year.
Folks should be calling Governor Brian Kemp, urging him not to call a special session.
What you got on that, Cuz?
I mean, I just think, the 1965, Voters' Right Act was, more for equal representation, for Black people, for brown people. And it was, and it had momentum through all these years. And is what's that, 61 years later? That's how long it took to, to undo it. And the debate and switch pretty much, of saying that, it's racist to draw maps to make sure that Black people have fair representation in Congress. And then to say that that's racist because, you're allowing fair representation for a group of people, while in the language excluding a group of people, saying that they're not getting fair representation. So I think the whole thing is, is bogus. It's a slap in the face to me. It feels racist. When you know that the 1965 Voting Rights Act was for protections of Black and brown people, and to say, hey, you know what, that don't matter no more. That's almost like like the whole Black Lives Matter movement. That's like them saying, hey, we're gonna show you that it really don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. So, it could backfire on them in a way, because once you make that ruling, that ruling is made, and is made to be done free federally. The bad thing is that it's gonna produce more gerrymandering. You know what I'm saying? Gerrymandering. And I mean, that could backfire in the long run, because what the red states can do, the blue states can do as well. And they're using it as a strategy for the midterms. But at this point, the Voting Rights Act is on life support. It's almost like totally gutted.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Man, this is a shock to me, but I'm not that shocked, because recently, we had a story where well, it's real, the talk about reparations and things like that was brought up at the United Nations, and the United States said particularly that Black people were not entitled, or descendants of slaves were not entitled to reparations, because it was legal. And it was because they made it legal, because they made the law. So, that was surprising to me, because, we know the history of Black people and their struggles in America, African Americans, and to see this now, and we look at all of those strives, all of the red line, and the hangings, the lynchings, there was stuff that the governor, the brother from Georgia who spoke, the gentleman from Georgia, when he was speaking, I get some of the things that he mentioned, but there was a whole lot of other things that happened to get to that Civil Rights Act, to be able to just vote, and it was there's a whole era in history that's called the Civil Rights Movement, because of how traumatic it was to Black people in their efforts to desire to be, you know, to have a say so, to have a voice, to feel included.
Right.
But one thing we always have to remember though is that we was trying to be included in their thing. So it's a difference when you say, you know what, we want to be included in their thing, and they give us permission to be included in their thing. Whenever you're given permission to do something, it's just like with a parent. Yeah, you got permission to do this, but you got to be home by this time. Yeah, you got permission to do this, but you got to do this, but you got to do that. So when we realize as a people that that's what that has been, then you know, we may no longer feel like such a sting, a blow, because they don't feel like your parent is hitting you and doing something, you know, because you're doing something wrong and need to be disciplined. And realize that what we should be doing is we should be working together more and learning the system the way it functions now and not how we would like it to function. Because there's no way that we're going to be able to even gain function in an environment like that without properly understanding how it functions, mastering the things that we say are unethical, the things that don't make any sense, the things that cause us a disadvantage or cause us this or that. You know, what we see groups of people sticking together economically, and that is helping steer their course. They don't have the same history as us of African Americans or Black people in the United States, but they also don't have the same struggles, but they also exemplify a unity that we don't. So I brought it to that unity part because we're being led, like you were saying, whether the Democrats or Republic or the left side or the right side or whatever, you know, I always take it back to that government thing. Like, it's only one government. It's the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And we need to really begin to look at it as that again.
Right.
And stop letting the divisiveness control and manipulate us, you know? And it's not about what party that I'm part of. It's more like, this is, you know, it says my country 'tis of thee. It don't say my party 'tis of thee.
Right.
You know,
one thing
I'm a veteran. I'm a veteran, you know what I'm saying? And it's my country 'tis of thee. It's not my party 'tis of thee.
Right, right.
You know,
I think Congress need to get they need to get to work. They haven't been acting as a co-equal branch, you know, to the executive branch. And it's been a lot of knee bending and doing a lot of knee bending and bending of the knee, you know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And Congress, and one reason that is because of the lobbyist money, the super PAC money, you know. It became a thing where if you can get into Congress, making it the salary that they make, you will segue over into making millions, but you got to scratch some backs. And I think a lot of on both sides, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
A lot of them are in there.
And I think that's okay though, fam. Real, you know, I think that's okay. You know why? Because we need to take the motto. Like, I need to be scratching your back and you need to be scratching my back. Like, that's the thing. And then whoever is part of our team need to be scratching their back and we scratching each other back.
Yeah.
Like,
but I'm talking about scratching.
Like blacks ain't scratching each other backs enough. They clawing each other in the back. We
I'm talking about the politicians.
No, but I ain't talking. But I'm talking about like without them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Without
I
them.
mean, yeah. Of course, you know. What I'm
you
saying?
know, like without them.
You know, of course.
Because what have they done? What have they done for the overall condition? Matter of fact, even looking at this sad story that we're looking at right now, it's like, what have any politicians done to even prevent it? They ain't even prevent it. There was nothing they could do. Supreme Court, the legislative branch, the judicial branch said that this was the case law that y'all wrote, and now we saying that now we ruling against it.
Yeah.
And
but
it just so
the
happens
Supreme
that
Court,
it was black people who needed that to even have a voice in their system that was created by them, that was created by Europe, by George Washington, the founding fathers, and all them.
you
right?
know, yeah.
So I mean, so when we look at that, it's like, okay, well, you know, you can open a black bank, but you can't bank black, because the money is never going to be black, right? But we can come together and open a bank. We can't give bogus loans just because you black, because that's not the way credit works, and that's not the way, you know, that's not the way the environment is that we in. But we could still own a bank, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Like, people not looking at the things that like we can do. And if you already gonna pay, if you're gonna be a good steward of your finances and you're gonna pay your bills on time with JP Chase Morgan, then if I got a black bank, then you know what I'm saying, your credit, you're a good steward of your finances. You manage your credit. So yeah, I give you a loan, but it's because now it's a feeling now. Now it's that feeling of that I'm spending my money with somebody who look like me. And you know who already practiced this is in the United States? We see the Asian community do it. We see the Jewish community do it, you know, where they shop with each other, and other ethnic communities that's in the USA. But African Americans don't do that. You know, we don't do no black dollar first to a black person, you know, before we send it out. And I'm talking about besides your mortgage and things like that you need. But I mean, hey, even if it was a black mortgage company, you know, people not going out their way to look at things like that, to, you know, so we can empower ourselves economically. Because your point is correct. Like, it is all pay for play. It is all pay for this. It is all, but we don't have no dollar in the slot machine. We don't have no quarter in the slot machine as a collective group.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Because
true.
I think if we did, then some of this stuff that we see would not be manifesting itself in the Congress, because we will have people in there that represent our interests. If they saying in the U.S. politics a congressperson can be bought, it don't matter if they Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. Then what system of checks and balances do we know of who's buying them? Of who said, you know what, I'm gonna buy you because you have this position, and I know you're gonna be able to do this for me. We don't know how many billionaires, millionaires, all that is that really out here. People got some money, some special interests, and to what extent that is, on what level, from a local level to a federal level to globally.
Yeah, they do have a disclosure program, you know, for trying to try to disclose as much as they can, but a lot of times that should be bogus.
Yeah,
you know, but the one thing about it, the Supreme Court is rogue too. You know, they're making a lot of decisions that goes against brown people. That's just like even when ICE was out here running around. I say was, but they're still out here.
Well, they at the airport now.
Yeah, they're at the airport handing out water and shit.
Yeah.
But now, but they, you know, they said it was okay to discriminate, and profile, racial profile. It was okay to racial profile. This was
Yeah,
law
but stop and frisk was a law that was enacted in some places, and I have good friends of mine that are law enforcement, and they call it poaching anyway. They're gonna do the shit anyway. If you looking suspect, they're gonna poach you. You know, you look suspect. You know, we wonder why sometimes when we was younger, outside hanging around in different place, police would just pull up. They just riding by, they just and you look suspicious. You look like you're doing something. So I mean, the thing is to not be doing nothing. You know, I mean, but we've seen You know, we've seen how stories end so many different mixed endings in that case. You know, but it's just like that's just the reality of it. You know, that's the reality of it. But you know, this is tough though. This is another tough blow to black people, to African Americans in the United States, um, along with that blow of don't ask for reparations again. You're not getting it because it was legal because we made the law. So
but you look, you gotta look at it too.
slavery was not the high. So we do not think slavery was the highest crime ever committed. The way
they got rid of Roe v. Wade. They done pushed the Voting Rights Act, 1965 Voting Rights Act back. And you know, I mean, you know, if you look at it and you're paying attention, they want to push things back even further. They want to push shit back to before 1965. The conservatives, I should say, because that's the judges that ruled on it, really want to conserve. And you have to ask the question, what are they trying to conserve? You know, and I think it's that make America great again thing. You know, America never really was great for black people, so we still trying
So
to
you
figure
think
out.
they want to put black people back in slavery?
No, I think they want to put everybody back in slavery that's not on their side. You know what I'm saying? In some kind of slavery, not a slavery
But
that's
you don't think the Democrats would want to have slavery too? No.
nah, because
So they would just rather be attacked by the opposition all the time. They wouldn't care. They just turn the other cheek. You smack us on this side, and then because what you saying, because I'm messing with what you're saying. What you're saying sound like some extreme type of viewpoint where it's it's like the conservative or the Republican Party, whoever the people is, they want to, you know, they want to lock up all the Democrats. They want to or kill them.
Listen.
Or,
No. That's not what I'm saying. So
you know,
what I'm saying is, if you look at you know, like the how you just taking rolling things back, you know, for black people, right? And then you got the things like I was saying, Make America great again. You know, it was never great. And then, like you said, with the reparations thing, you don't want that's supposed to be legal because it wasn't illegal when they was doing it. You see what I'm saying?
America was great though before.
For who?
Before colonization.
Nigga, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Native Americans.
You know, OCO.
And that was a great time. So no, I'm not being an extremist and saying that all conservatives. But my thing is that everything that I'm seeing done is really like it really opposes black people. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I gotta say what it is what the way I feel about it. You know, as a black man. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that if they could roll it back further, they will roll it back further. You know, they will roll it back further. I ain't saying all the way back to slavery. You know what I'm saying? But if they say, hey, well, y'all can't vote, or which that none of that will never happen again, I don't think. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, if Trump decided
you don't hope.
Yeah, I hope not,
hope.
you know. Or if he had to axe the grind and was like, you know what? Yeah, we gonna start putting black people in these camps that we put all the Mexicans in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Shoot.
You know what I'm saying?
Which ones? Because I ain't going.
Yeah, I ain't going either. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't
going either. You know, but
I ain't going.
you know, I believe that if that announcement was made tomorrow that it was okay for him to do that, trust and believe it would be people that would be like, hell yeah. You dig what I'm saying? And they would love it. You know,
I mean, somebody gonna hate, somebody gonna like, somebody gonna not. You know, somebody. I mean, that's just life. I get it. Like I wouldn't be.
You know, and it's
already
a tipping point.
Family, it's people, but it's already people praying for your downfall. Like whether you know it or not, it's already people hoping that you don't succeed. It might be a ex-girlfriend, it might be a this or that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's people who don't want you to do well, you know? So like that's normal. And that's what I'm saying. Like I hate that it's a part of life, you know, but it's normal though. Like, you know,
I hate seeing
it's
the
even,
government being racist, blatantly racist. It's actually scary.
but
You
it's
know what I'm
not,
saying? It's
but it's
actually
not
scary.
scary though. It's
You
not
know,
because you're aware that there's a war going on and it's constant. So you shouldn't be scared. You should be prepared, because this the thing. See, and this the beauty of it. Like, and then we're gonna get to the next topic. The beauty of it is like now we see the things that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King was saying was true. Now we see that them things was true, that both of them brothers was saying, not just one of them. We see the things that Farrakhan been saying is true. You know, so now it's just like, damn, so these brothers wasn't lying the whole time, you know what I'm saying? Or it wasn't mythical or just, you know, this, that, and the third. Now we see that, like, okay, they done told us you have lived it. You didn't have to go to the back of the bus. You didn't have to go to the back door. You didn't have to live where your school was segregated. We didn't go through that, family. But our parents and grandparents did, okay? So, and ancestors did. But now we see we get to live through the day where they said, we're not going to do nothing to repay you for it.
but you know,
Right.
one of the reasons
And ain't
why
nobody
we didn't
mad
go through
about
it,
that. And ain't no hold
one of
up
the
though,
reasons
cuz, and ain't nobody mad about that. Ain't
nobody.
nobody rioting like they was rioting for Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter as much as a George Floyd and then some girls who don't even like men,
When
some
that decision
sisters,
came down, that should have been in the streets. I
some
get it.
sisters who don't even like men, you know what I'm saying? Like they got more energy off that than you talking about. We don't care what your ancestors went through. We put your ancestors through it on purpose. That's not the way nobody interpreted that. Am I interpreting that like not like
Nah,
F you and your people? We don't care about none of
yeah,
y'all. And
yeah.
then
That's
and then ain't this legit to say, wasn't it law? Didn't Hitler make it law when he was treating the Jewish people bad like that?
yeah.
Okay. And Germany had to pay. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, come on, family. And then now we see this. Now this is just, and then you say, like you said, because I agree with you. And then you say, like, man, I just hope it don't be this or that. How could we not be thinking that it's not? That's why I asked casually, jokingly, like, what you think they trying to put Black folks back in slavery? Because when you look at this, it's just like, damn. And even the people, the elected officials, the people we going ain't doing nothing.
Shit. Nothing.
On both sides, man. You know what I'm saying? On
yeah,
all
and
sides.
at that point, when something like that is done, you know, I don't want to hear shit about Epstein. You know what I'm saying? We got some shit to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Okay, the Epstein stuff has been going on long enough, but these niggas just turn around and say, hey, you know, we can disenfranchise Black people, and the 1965 Voting Rights Act means absolutely nothing.
I'm just saying, fam. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think, you know, and I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything irrational, stupid, illogical, or unsafe. But I'm just like, I think at this time in history, right now, I think we're witnessing a historic moment in history where Black people, even myself, are defeated. And are being defeated because the triggering will be of something of no real significance. And then something of real significance, people ain't doing nothing. And I'm just aware of it. That's it. You know, I'm aware, and I would say that I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing that's, I know I don't have the resources to do something drastic, but I do have the resources to do something to prepare myself in any event, you know,
on a low
and be
level,
aware of what's going on.
on a low level, people can just start with, because a lot of people out here nowadays talking about some racism don't exist. When somebody say racism don't exist,
They tripping.
punch them in the face.
No, because then you're gonna get locked up.
You know.
No,
Yeah,
you sound like the God now. No, don't punch him in the face, man. Get away, get as far away from them as possible as you can before you punch them in the face, because
right. And I mean, just to hear people say that shit, you know, it don't exist. It's crazy, man. You know, it's crazy that is people out here that actually think that, and then they'll turn around and be racist. You know, most people that say racism don't exist. No, yeah, okay.
Everybody racist. Everybody got some type of little racist, some type of prejudice, some type of something. You know, you can't be American and not have it, because it's ingrained. It's a part of the culture, whether people acknowledge it or not. You know.
So it's a difference. I think it's a difference with like some stereotypical shit. So you know how they say black people, chicken, watermelon, and all that shit, right?
It tastes good.
Right, tastes good. You know, now a person that will be a stereotypical racist kind of thought, but that person may not necessarily be like, and I don't like black people. Now, people that be like, I don't like black people, or I don't like Asian people, or I don't like white people. You know, those are racist motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I believe. Like you said, I believe everybody got.
Are they not preferential or selective? You know?
You can call it what you want to.
But so what about when a black person says, I don't like ninjas?
That ain't the same, bro.
Why it ain't the same?
I
That's
mean,
a double standard.
Nah, because at that point, you know, I mean, you know, that's an argument and conversation to have. But at that point, you black talking about you don't like another black person. You know, I'm not even going. If nigga be like, I don't like niggas, I'd be like, oh, which ones? You know what I'm saying? Who you talking about?
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Okay, but I'm just saying that's a preference, though.
Right. Yeah. Well,
that's a preference.
It's not racist. It's not being racist against another.
It is being racist, because that's even worse. That's somebody who look like you. And you might it is being racist, like, and that's why I say, like, I ain't making it bad. I'm just saying everybody racist.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying.
Ninjas.
That's what I was saying.
Like, I hate ninjas.
I said that too. I said everybody got some little shit that they say or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But do you really have hatred? There's people out here that got hatred.
You could really have hatred for ninjas. You could.
Yeah, you could. I mean, I see it all the time. I
really do. I ain't gonna like, I ain't just talking about other people. I really do, except for the ones that I have made exceptions for. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Could be because and like you just said, so which ones? Okay, the ones that I have made exceptions, the ones that I haven't made exceptions for. So you asked a fair question, I got a fair answer for it. If it'll make sense to you.
I hate the way people act sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But I think at the same time, if I be like, you know, that nigga over there, you know, he a bullshitter, he a knucklehead, you know what I'm saying? Ain't shit. But I could still pray for him. Probably wouldn't waste the prayer. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a hate. You know what I'm saying? It's not a hate thing. You know, now a person that just genuinely hate people, black people, Asian people, Latin people, white people, you genuinely hate a group of people just because of their ethnicity. That's that's some heavy shit. And if you
I don't think it's that heavy though. I don't think it's that heavy.
They age is so hateful. Being hateful age, man. Because the hateful people are some of the ugliest people when they start getting
the colonizers started it, right? The white people started that. We didn't have that before, right? So the white people started that trend. They started that trend because they made slavery and they made a distinguishment between colored and white, right? And then it got perpetuated from the 40s to 50s, and that's when we had a whole civil rights movement. You know, so this is facts right here. So right now, a person might say that I sound like I hate all white people, right? But because I'm stating facts, they might say I sound racist because I'm stating facts, because I'm stating American history. You see, but I'm okay with that. But if I met a black person who said I can't stand all white people, right? Then I would say yes, they are racist, but I still wouldn't have a problem with it because I understand why they're racist. Okay? Because they understand that racism wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for the way our people was treated. You see? So the thing is more about understanding these things, right? But and not getting triggered by them. That's the reason why I'm like, if a black person called me the N-word, I got just as much as a problem. Matter of fact, I have more of a problem with a black person calling me the N-word than I do with somebody else of another ethnicity trying to trigger me and get me to act in a way that they think, that in their mind, what they think the N-word is. Okay? Because they don't know the difference. I know the difference because it's been put on me since I was born. Okay? Because my family would call me the word. Because when you're walking down the street, that's what you get perceived as before you even get to present yourself or your character of who you are. Because we not judged by the content of our character. We judge by the stereotypes and the narratives that have been presented and made and glorified and magnified. Okay? That's what we get first until somebody said, oh, you know what? He's okay. But before you get with your depiction, with the whatever stereotype, why you think people ask people where they from? They ask you where you from to put you in a box to see if they know anybody from that place, to think about a person that they met and their characteristics and all that. All that data is downloading. That's why they ask people where they from. That's why that's goofy to me. Where you at and where you going and where you want to be. Can I help you get there? If I can't help you get there, then let me be in peace while we exist in this space together. That's it, because we not going the same place, even though I met you here. That's something that I don't care what complexion you is. If you on something good, we rocking with you. Because I've had people that look like me do worse to me than I've had other people that don't look like me. That don't have nothing to do with being racist. That have just to do with my life experiences. That's it. But the game is to have all of this racism stuff you worried about, distracted from your money, from your finances, from learning the economy and how that works and how to manage your money and how to level up and go to the next level and see all these games and all these. They're going to go vote. That was a privilege. And then what they do, they said, now they starting to take it back. Now they start taking it back. Now we hoping they don't take it back. But I knew off top, it was a privilege in the first place. They told us we could vote. Why did they tell us we could vote? Why people don't even want to study that. Like, why did they tell us we? Because then that's going into understanding more of what the whole game was. And now we see in this game unfold in front of us. We are fortunate enough to be alive. We'll be seeing Supreme Court stuff going on like this. We'll be seeing United Nations stuff going, and we're paying attention to it. We're not caught up in scrolling for girlies on Instagram. We're not caught up in trying to chase a cup of syrup. We're not caught up in trying to be on some ecstasy or pop a Xan or pop a pill or this or that, unless we actually on prescribed medication. We fortunate enough to see these things, to be focused enough to be paying attention to it. Even in the illusion of politics, where it's a side, it's a left side, or it's a right side, or it's like, come on, family. It's the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch, man. Cut the nonsense out. But if you keep people fighting each other, then they never gonna see what we doing. They never gonna see, they never gonna figure out, oh, that's the game plan. They never gonna see it. And that's what they did with slavery and everything else. Why why this stuff is so sad, y'all. I swear we're gonna move on to the next topic. But that's why it's so sad, because they just told African American people, we're not giving you no reparations because we made it legal and we don't owe you nothing. So we wasn't wrong for it.
The Supreme Court.
Okay. And then now you got the Supreme Court saying that that the civil rights movement, them trying to do zoning because black people was coming together saying, okay, if we get our own firehouse, if we get our own schools, if we get our own downtown, if we get our own, all of these things, our own town council and our own city council and all these stuff, we can zone, and then we can vote, and we can matter in the process. That was wrong, because they was all black people who was already disenfranchised and couldn't do what?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was,
and nobody spark a riot nowhere for nothing.
Was a split decision. The decision was split 5-3. So, you know, all five Republican
don't nobody
justices
care.
Voted yes, and all 3 Democratic dissented and voted no.
Ain't the Michael Jackson movie out now? Because and I bet you they ain't play in that one. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. I bet you that's why I ain't going to go see the movie, because that song ain't in it.
Well, then they had to rewrite part of that too, man. There was some victims that didn't want their stuff disclosed. Janet Jackson, she's not even mentioned in the movie at all. How you have a whole Michael Jackson movie and don't mention the sister? But that was her decision. She didn't want to be a part of it and said don't put her in it. But I ain't see it neither. This was just what somebody told me so.
Yeah. Shout out to Janet Jackson with her fine self. Let's go ahead and jump into this next topic, y'all. After 25 years, we're gonna head out to Queens. Jam Master Jay is getting justice. Legendary DJ and producer of the legendary hip-hop group Run DMC. We're gonna go check out y'all. He finally getting some justice.
It's been 25 years already.
Man, it's been a long time.
It's a long time. I didn't think it was that long.
Nearly a quarter century after Run DMC's Jam Master Jay was shot to death in a Queens recording studio, one of the 3 men charged in his murder has changed his plea to guilty.
I helped them kill Jason Mizell. These are the exact words used by Jay Bryant in a Brooklyn courtroom Monday morning. 23 years later, the 52-year-old is the first and only person to confess in taking part in the murder of hip-hop legend Jam Master Jay. Bryant telling the court, in 2002 in Queens, New York, I agreed with others who were known drug dealers and involved in a drug deal with Jason Mizell to possess and distribute more than 5 kilograms of cocaine. Bryant entering into a plea agreement with federal prosecutors just 1 week before he was scheduled to go to trial. His case severed from that of Ronald Tennard Washington and Carl Jordan Jr., Bryant later named a co-conspirator in 2023 in a superseding indictment for the firearm-related murder of Jason Mizell. This 3 years after the indictment of Washington and Jordan. In court, Bryant reading a short prepared statement. On October 30th, 2002, in Queens, New York, I helped them kill Jason Mizell by helping gain entry to the recording studio. I knew a gun was going to be used to shoot Jason Mizell.
Because let's look at this for a minute, man. He said, because you know, you owned a lot of studios, you done worked in and out a lot of studios coming up. I remember back in the day pulling up on a lot of different studios. Family, he said, I helped them off Jason Mizell by gaining entry into the studio. So, like, I mean, what's that? Is that like that gotta be when you own in the studio, right? Like the only people who got entry is people who like cool, right? Don't know everybody don't have keys.
No, everybody don't have keys. But
So that had to be his man, right?
yeah, or somebody he trusted. And sometimes it's not that everybody had keys. He could have been one of the people that called or said, "Hey, I'm on the way," and he might be like, "Okay, I'll unlock the door," just to get the door unlocked. You know what I'm saying? Or he had a key. It was one of the two. But he was trusted. He was trusted. If he could gain entry into the studio, he was trusted. And the bad thing about a lot of studios, you got that basement situation going on. A lot of them. A lot of them got an upstairs situation or a one way out type of situation where once you in there, it's not really the only way to come back out is the same way you came in. Now unless you jump out a window or something. So, and it happened with Jam Master Jay, but that happens all the time with studios. You know what I'm saying? It happens all the time where, people get set up at the studio. I think wasn't Pooh Shiesty and them and weren't they at the studio when it happened with Gucci?
Man, I ain't even going into that Winnie the Pooh Shiesty, man, for real. Because he just stuck his hand in a whole jar of honey. But
it happens, but at the same time, I noticed that he said, he reached a plea deal, after, right before he's supposed to go to trial and whatnot. So, I'm pretty sure people on the other side, the prosecution, they're gonna love his testimony or, take down what he say. But I'm pretty sure anybody that he's going against, they're gonna be like, he's not credible. He's just trying to save face at this point. But I think he just want to tell the truth, honestly.
Yeah, man. But I'm just saying though, like in 2002, let's think about when Jam Master Jay, when Run DMC came out, that was like in the 80s, right? Like 83. I don't even know.
Right. Long time.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, Jam Master Jay is selling bricks in 2002 though.
Like, yeah, bricks and bricks, five bricks.
Yeah, they was coming to get 5 bricks. That's how much the lick was for.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just like, damn, like in 02, you still said, like, you've been in the game for 20 years and you still selling bricks. That's crazy. Just
but DJs are like barbers, to cut your hair. Like they know a lot of people.
This is not a regular DJ. This is
no. I mean, know a lot of people. So at that point, he like, hey, in 2002, rappers was making way more money than what they were making in 1985. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
So he still was getting royalty checks and he still was DJing. But I think for him to catch up with that money and want to live the lifestyle like the newer rappers were, he curbed it by selling drugs. And it looked like a lot of them, a lot of drugs. You know what I'm saying? So that's Jam Master Jay. And I know for a while they said 50 Cent had something to do with it, but that was all rumors, I guess.
Bryant opened a locked fire escape exit door to allow Jordan and Washington inside without being seen by the hip-hop mogul. The 52-year-old ending his allocution saying, "I knew what I was doing was wrong and a crime." Bryant's stepfather supporting him for today's hearing, the 52-year-old giving him a thumbs up before leaving the courtroom. Yet he was the only family member to come to court today. Family and friends of Jam Master Jay did not attend. Before this plea deal, Jay Bryant was facing life in prison had he been convicted during a trial. Now he'll serve 15 to 20 years after admitting to being a part of the conspiracy to murder Jam Master Jay.
Man, dude, 52 years old.
He trying to come home.
Yeah, 72.
He trying to come home. That's why he took the plea.
Yeah.
They're saying he copped the 15 to a dub. So he trying to come back home. He think he can go walk that dub off. That 15, he might gotta do 18 of that, something like that in the state. I don't know what the requirements are.
15 to 20. So I mean 15 to 20. So he's gonna do at least 15 and less than 20, maybe. Like you say, would you say 18? You got 18.
17 and a half. He gonna have to walk some of the rest of it down though. They're not gonna just give him let him walk all that off, you know, like just do 15. They probably gonna give him the dub and then maybe have to do 15.
And all he did was open the door. He opened the door and got 20 years for opening the door. He opened the door so a door can shut behind him.
Stupid. Sound like Big 30.
Big 30.
Yeah, that's who was Pooh Man. Pooh homeboy who go get my bag for me and then block the door and all that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so you know, he might get a dub for blocking the door, you know.
Yeah, that's kidnapping. Well, they had already kidnapped him, so it's
crazy man.
Crazy,
super crazy. But rest in peace to Jam Master Jay. He's finally getting some closure. I know they said his family wasn't there for comment or anything like that, but you know, they already have the people there, and now the story is corroborated. So all of the sentences or pleas will be, you know, delegated accordingly. But Jam Master Jay's killers have been brought to justice. People know who they are, but it seems like, you know, Jam Master Jay was still
in the streets. That boy was in the streets.
Sounded like he was still about that life, and everybody know what come with it. So it's crazy. Even then to even now, it's still it don't change. It's still prison or coffin.
Same shit, different toilet.
Yeah, crime does not pay. So moving on to our fourth story tonight, y'all. We're gonna head on to A-Town, y'all, and see what's going on with this Grammy nominated producer evicted in the A, man. He got evicted, and I think it's a learning experience here. I think it's a learning experience here.
A Grammy-nominated music producer says an eviction left his studio in ruins and millions of dollars in equipment damaged. He's been locked in a years-long legal battle with the property owner.
And he reached out to Channel 2 investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln. Ashley, he thought the court put the eviction on pause.
That's what he thought. He told me he was surprised to see marshals show up here at this door, slapping stickers on this building, telling him and everybody inside that they have to get out.
I feel like by the grace of God, I'm here.
Grammy-nominated producer Dr. Kevin K.O. Kate says he's used to producing hits for the likes of T.I., Snoop Dogg, and Kendrick Lamar.
Hard drives, movies, music, irreparable harm that's damaged and gone.
But now, instead of laying tracks, he's trying to recover millions in losses from destroyed studio equipment after what he calls a wrongful eviction.
Pain, frustration.
Kate says the eviction hit a sour note on March 12th when marshals showed up at the headquarters of his nonprofit, Bridge the Gap.
I come outside and ask what they're doing here. They say, we're here to evict. I'm like, on what cause?
For the last 2 years, Kate says he's been tangled in both federal and state court battles with the current property owner. Kate says in 2019, he signed a lease-to-own contract with the original owner of the Buffington Center building and paid him more than $600,000. But in 2022, Kate says he was surprised the original owner sold the property to another company called PJX. Kate says he repeatedly tried to pay rent to the new owner. However, court documents show each payment sent to PJX was returned because the owner said Kate wasn't their tenant.
We invested millions into building this building up.
I reached out to the Fulton County Marshal's office. It confirmed a judge signed off on the eviction February 15th. But the case sat silent for weeks until marshals were assigned it on March 10th at the request of the property owner. Kate says all of that happened without his knowledge.
They violated any kind of due process.
The marshal's office told me it doesn't notify tenants. It only executes a judge's order. I also reached out to the magistrate clerk's office, which handles notifications. It has not responded.
Now it's bigger than me fighting for what we built. It's now about, on top of that, them stealing it from me and the harm that they caused me.
Cause I'm just saying, like,
And Kate's nonprofit has helped thousands of people get into the music and entertainment industry. In the meantime, we did reach out to the attorney for the property owner of this business. He stated that they deny all these allegations and that is Kate's. They were successful in all of Kate's attempts of taking them to court. In the meantime, consumer advocates say any renter, either commercial or residential, keep all of your documentations and also document if that lease has been sold to another company.
Okay, so I want to go back to a little part right here real quick.
Yeah, so what did they padlock the studio and stole his equipment?
This part right here, I think this right around right here. Let me see.
JX, Kate says he repeatedly tried to pay rent to the new owner. However, court documents show each payment sent to PJX was returned because the owner said.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking, man. Okay, so right here it says that he was trying to pay. They sold the building, right? And then he was trying to pay rent to the new owner, but the new owner kept sending him back his money. So right here was where he dropped the ball at. Now, what are you doing if you trying to pay rent and you in a space, but the renter, the owner of the building is saying, I don't want your money. I want you to move.
Right.
Right. And they giving you your money back. They like, I'm not taking your money. But they letting you stay there, you know, like this. How many months did this go by? You know, what they don't say is how many months it actually went by. But the person was letting them stay there till they got the message, and then they just went with the court proceedings. So he's stupid. So to me, you know, Bruce, you know, no disrespect, bro, but you kind of slow. You know,
yeah, I think that's
slow
crazy. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. You know, that's like if I got somebody renting out one of my houses, and then they turn around and then I sell the house, and then that person say to the new owner that bought the house, nah, I'm gonna stay here. I'm just gonna pay you. I'm just gonna keep paying you. It don't work like that. Once the building's sold, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? You got to go.
But maybe not, right? Okay, so once the building's sold, they don't necessarily have to go if the new owner says,
yeah, that was in the deal. Yeah.
Right. If no, it don't even, because it won't be in the deal of the sale. That won't be in the deal of the sale. The new owner still has to go make a new lease with the tenant because the owners change. All right. So that's cool though. But the owner and the same tenant got to talk now. They have to work out an agreement.
Yeah, and they were sending the check back.
And they were sending his check back. So they letting him know, like, no, like we want you up out of there. We don't want to do business with you. We don't care if you are paying on time. We don't care if it isn't, you know, if you're paying the same amount or if we went up on it and you even said agreed to pay the new amount. You know, if we doubled the rent and you wanted to pay double because you didn't want to move. No. When dude sold it, he said the original person that he bought it from, it was supposed to be a rent to own. Okay, that was foolish anyway. All right, because he probably didn't even read the whole contract, and that's how he was able to wiggle from out of that and sell it to somebody else. Okay, because if it was a rent to own, then it should have been addendums in the actual contract to where they would have had to follow, and he would have had to give them the chance to purchase it. You know what I'm saying? Based on how much had already been applied to whatever was the purchase price from that rent, because a portion of that rent to own was supposed to be applied to whatever that the sale price was that they had agreed upon during the initial contract. So that was bogus. Like that ain't even fly. Clearly, because he was able to, the owner was able to sell it was able to transfer the property to another owner. So when we look at that, it's like now they said we don't want your money. He had all the months, however many months it was, to move, to rearrange. Now he online talking about we spent $1 million in the building and we did all this. Like, that ain't how the paperwork go. That's why he got evicted.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I just think bro slow. Like I wanted to
And
I
I'm
wanted
pretty
to
sure
root for him.
I'm pretty sure he got letters saying, "Hey, this is going." Then he said, "I thought the courts postponed the eviction." You know, you need to be up on your game with that right there. Them people ain't playing around. They need their building, man.
And they need their building straight like
Yeah,
that.
you know.
Definitely. So checking out our last but not least, our fifth and final topic, y'all. If you've been under a rock somewhere, I don't know, but you know that the Jalisco New Generation Cartel boss, the big boss, El Mincho, you know, he was captured by the Mexican Marines and National Guard, and he died in that, and with some help from United States forces. But since then, they have placed a bounty on all of his bosses, all of the underbosses, the people who was helping him run the infrastructure. And they just got one, El Adinero. He's been captured. So we're gonna go check out that story right quick.
Authorities in Mexico say they've apprehended one of the country's most dangerous criminals. Audias Flores Silva, known as El Jardinero, is a commander in the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Officials say he was arrested in the northwest region of Nayarit in an operation carried out by Naval Special Forces. Reports say the operation was the result of 19 months of surveillance and shared information from the United States.
You heard that, cuz? This why I don't pay it. They said now this is a cartel boss, and they had him under surveillance for 19 months.
Mm-hmm.
You just in America.
You said you just in America?
You just in America. Where your cell phones tapped to a cell phone tower.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Your GPS in your brand new whip is tapped into something that's tracking something.
Right.
Your Tesla is tracking something, or it's know what I'm saying. It's some type of digital record.
Your Apple Watch, your Meta glasses,
your
everything.
watches, your Meta glasses, like
even your wallet now. My wallet got a damn locator on it, so it's crazy.
You feel me? So it's just like, and this is supposed to be one of the most sophisticated drug dealers on the planet, going from the criminal world. I'm talking about the upper echelon of the criminal world. All right. They had him under surveillance for 19 months before they went and got him.
Yeah.
I don't know, but people think they Georgia the jungle, so swing on the vine.
Why they got his face blurred out? Why they got his face blurred out? Like niggas, they would. Y'all don't watch him for 19 months. We can't see him now. I mean, goddamn.
I don't know. This may not, but this may not be. That may not be him.
Oh, okay.
That may not be him. This is a story they running that they got him, but that may not be him. Who knows?
$1 million reward out for Flores Silva's capture. He was reportedly responsible for overseeing the cartel's drug laboratories as well as shipping routes, and was considered to succeed another cartel boss, El Mencho, who was killed during an operation in February. It is not
that's him right there, though. Yeah, that's him.
Known if Flores Silva will face charges in Mexico, but the United States has been seeking his extradition since 2021.
Yep. So they said the United States has been seeking his extradition since 2021. He's been on the list.
That's crazy.
They've been wanting to grab him and snatch him up. So they said they already sat on him for 2 years before they even grabbed him.
Yeah.
So they went to go get the head first, kind of like we seen those tactics done with Venezuela, where they just went and got Maduro. Yeah. And then you seen the tactics done with in Iran, where they went got the Ayatollah first. So whoever is this defense strategist doing this thing, they starting with the head first. They like, we cutting the head off everything, and then we'll get all the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what it looked like is going on. And
from the drug wars to the, to the real wars, to the,
and I mean, I
oil
think
wars.
I think they had a sense of security, just being in their country and deep in their country, as far as like in Mexico and places down that way, to the point where now they know that they will literally come up in there and get your ass and bring you out. It don't matter if you're a drug cartel person or a president, So it's like ain't nobody safe, ain't nowhere to run to, ain't nobody where to hide, and especially if they watching you for 19 months. That's a long time. It's a long time to watch somebody, man, to be under surveillance.
Yeah, you know what it says. You know what it says? Be all that you can be. Get an edge on life. I'm trying to tell you, man. I don't know. I mean, dude be popping a whole lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, that we got a strong military thing, we got a bit, man. I'm trying to tell you, they be kicking butt and taking names. Not really taking, and checking names off the list.
Man,
it's interesting.
Taking names, they taking people. They literally taking people, bro.
But yeah, y'all, tonight, man, that's all we had, man. We got prosecutors say D4vd is used a chainsaw to dismember the young girl body. That's crazy. Let's pull that back up right quick. We got a prayers out to her family, man. Like, that's just such a sad story. We'll keep y'all posted. We're not gonna be D4vd central, but we're gonna keep our eyes on this story because it seems like it's a closed case, but it seems like it's a no-brainer. What you think, Cozy?
I think he's guilty. I think he did it. I think he cooked. I mean, that's it. I think it's a closed case. They just got to go through the motions now. Or either they got to convince him that, hey, there's no need to go to trial because you're going to jail regardless. So,
take a plea. You think he'll plea out?
Yeah, he might. Especially if they put the death penalty on the table. So we'll see.
We will see. We'll have it right here for y'all. Then we had a new Supreme Court ruling that changes civil rights. Y'all let us know what y'all think about that in the comment section below, man. Like, it's, speak your piece, to speak up. Let us know what y'all think about that, man. As black people having a hard time out here, no reparations, and they changing civil rights rules, man. Is it a war on black folks? I think it's already been, but y'all let us know if I'm let me know if I'm tripping on that. After 25 years, we got Jam Master Jay, getting some justice in his case. Respect to a hip hop legend, Run DMC, the group, and love and condolences and everything to the family. And finally, it'd be a lot of hip hop murders unsolved, and at least we got one solved. Then we had Grammy nominated producer evicted in Atlanta. That was a wild story. What you thought about that, Cole?
Yeah, I think it was wild. I'm not buying the 100% narrative of being a victim in that story with him. You can't just stay in the building. Like, if you keep giving somebody money for something, they keep giving it back to you saying, no, I don't want to get out my building, and you got to get out my building. So
straight like that. Yep. And then our fifth and final story, CJNG, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel boss, El Idenito, was captured, and they're not playing. They're just not playing, man. Crime does not pay. Some of the most sophisticated, these are the most sophisticated criminals in the world, and they getting snatched off the streets. So, boy, you petty. You know, you know what I'm saying? Cause like, boy, you petty. You're not doing that. You're not a metric ton mover. You know, so them few little bricks you getting, man, trust me, they just waiting for you to stack up with the paper or them pills or whatever, so that way they can move in and seize it with a couple interagencies, and they can split the pot. They can split all your hard work and then send you off to prison to do work for cheap.
And you will get the same time that the warlord get.
Yeah, and you can at the same time, maybe more.
Maybe more.
Maybe more, because he's not a citizen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they have some international laws that they have to abide by a little bit, you know. So yeah, that's all we have for y'all tonight. You know, we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Make sure to smash that like button. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, so when we go live, you never miss an episode of Brunch with the Fellas. We want everybody to have a peaceful, positive, and productive rest of your weekend. And we'll see you next time right here on Brunch with the Fellas each and every Friday at 9 p.m. You know how the saying goes, if it's Friday night and you don't got a date, then Brunch with the Fellas is your spot, so don't be late. I'm Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV.
And I'm Cold Seasons.
And we are the Brunch Fellas. Until
this whole publication is all about going from nowhere to somewhere, right? Being able to stand on something so that you can travel in peace, right? So bksoulfarm.com, 1016 160 self-sustainability. Jump on the list and get yourself together, right? Because it is irresponsible to not even know what responsibility means. So get yourself together, food, clothing, and shelter, protection of that, support your interests, and live.
Love ain't always easy, and we won't stop until we get it right. So bring that ass to the Love Speak podcast. Subscribe today and let your love speak at TLS Podcast. The Love Speak, now streaming on YouTube. You are the key to your financial freedom. So unlock your inner wealth with financial fundamentals at Bows on the Table. Subscribe today and never miss a meal at Bows Podcast. Bows on the Table, now streaming on YouTube. At the Veteran Kettle Podcast, we thank you for your service, support, and sacrifice to our country. Listen to real stories of adversity and triumph as we give our best to honor our vets. Subscribe today and watch episodes now streaming on YouTube at TVK Podcast, The Veteran Kettle. Sign up for the newsletter and shop merch and clothing at DBCHEFTV.com.